Caribbean looked dead calm. Flat water, no wind, nothing moving. But 67 miles off the Venezuelan coast, that silence was about to shatter in the most violent way imaginable. At 14:14 hours, the United States Coast Guard cutter Stone, alone, unescorted, on a routine patrol, was slicing through the water at a steady pace. A ship built to chase drug runners, not to fight a naval gun battle. Then the horizon changed. 3 dark silhouettes appeared, warships closing fast, bow waves flashing under the sun. 3 Venezuelan offshore patrol vessels advancing in tight formation, accelerating like predators locking onto a wounded target. Each of them armed with 76mm cannons, automatic guns, and surface-to-surface missiles. From Caracas, the order had been simple. Intercept, close distance, do not back down. The Stone broadcast warnings on open maritime channels. Nothing came back. The 3 Venezuelan ships kept pushing forward, pushing hard, cutting the distance in half, then in half again, as if the cutter didn't have the right to exist where it was. What happened next was not a misunderstanding, not a diplomatic bump. It was a real naval engagement, fast, chaotic, and irreversible. A chain of bad assumptions, political ego, and catastrophic misreading of the enemy that ended with 2 warships on the seafloor. And all of it lasted just 18 minutes. If you enjoy these cinematic reconstructions of real military incidents, don't forget to subscribe. It helps this channel continue to bring you stories like this. Hours earlier, the Stone had just wrapped up 72 brutal hours of law enforcement operations. 3 drug-running go-fast boats intercepted. Over 2,400 kilos of cocaine seized. A major win for Washington. But to certain circles tied to the Venezuelan regime, it was a direct hit to revenue and a humiliation they refused to let stand. At 13:47 local time, 3 Constitution-class patrol ships left La Guaira Naval Base. Hefty ships, around 1,800 tons each, built to patrol wide stretches of ocean, but capable of serious combat when pushed. A combined crew of 183 sailors moved toward the Stone with what they believed was overwhelming superiority. 3 ships versus 1 cutter. At 14:03, Stone's radar picked them up. 3 fast-moving contacts approaching at nearly 30 knots. Military signatures closing straight in. Range 34 miles. Estimated time to contact less than 50 minutes. Inside the cutter's bridge, the tone shifted immediately. Emergency protocols activated. Notifications sent to U.S. 4th Fleet. A desperate request for assistance transmitted to the closest American warship. That warship was the USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke class destroyer with Aegis radar, 90 VLS missile cells, SM-2s, Tomahawks, and 8 Harpoon anti-ship missiles. But it was far, roughly 112 miles northeast, almost 90 minutes away at normal speed. But when the distress signal came through, Gravely's captain didn't hesitate. He ordered flank speed, 32 knots, engines screaming, the ship cutting through the water like a blade. The question was, would it get there in time? At 14:14, the lead Venezuelan vessel, Guamacudo, closed to around 3,200 yards and issued an ultimatum. "Leave Venezuelan waters or be fired upon." Stone responded immediately. "We are in international waters. We will not withdraw." At 14:17, the line was crossed. 3 76mm warning shots thundered into the sea ahead of Stone's bow, water erupting into white pillars. The confrontation was now combat. The cutter's crew sprinted to battle stations, the 57mm gun crew armed up, 50 caliber gunners locked into their mounts, damage control teams spread out, ready for fire, shrapnel, flooding, everything. At 14:19, Yaguaraparo slid up Stone's starboard side. Tamako positioned on the port side. The cutter was now bracketed, boxed in by 3 ships with far more displacement, heavier armor, and significantly more firepower. At 14:21, the first real strike hit. A 76mm round slammed into Stone's stern, detonating across the deck, ripping apart antennas and gear, and injuring 3 Coast Guard sailors with burns and shrapnel. Smoke rolled across the deck like a storm cloud. Stone broadcast a mayday. The Venezuelans squeezed formation even tighter, apparently preparing for a boarding action, hoping to tow the cutter in and parade its captured crew on state television. What they didn't know was that Gravely already had full authorization to fire. At 14:24, Stone returned fire. The 57mm gun barked to life, hammering rapid-fire rounds into Guamacudo's superstructure, sparks, metal fragments, damaged sensors. But the 57mm was a law enforcement weapon, not a war-stopping naval gun. The Venezuelan ships took the hits and kept pressing in. At 14:26, Yaguaraparo fired a devastating salvo. Multiple 76mm rounds smashed into Stone's midships, shattering windows, destroying a lifeboat, and igniting a fire in the galley that roared to life instantly. 7 sailors were now injured. The cutter was taking water, listing 3 degrees to port. Yet the crew kept fighting for the ship's life. Meanwhile, the Gravely was closing in on Harpoon launch range. 14:31, 66 miles from the fight. More than enough. 14:32. The destroyer unleashed 4 Harpoon missiles. They tore into the sky with a blast, arced down, and dropped to sea-skimming altitude, flying just meters above the water at roughly 540 miles per hour. Silent, deadly, almost impossible to detect until the final seconds. At 14:38, Venezuelan radars finally caught sight of them. By then, it was far too late. At 14:39, Harpoon 1 hit Guamacudo at the waterline. A nearly 500-pound warhead detonated inside the engine spaces, turning steel into fire and fuel into liquid flame. The ship shuddered, broke, and began to die. Seconds later, Harpoon 2 smashed into the bridge. The front half of the ship folded. Guamacudo sank in less than 90 seconds. Yaguaraparo tried to turn hard to port. It didn't matter. A harpoon hammered into the side of the hull, lifting the ship out of the water for a moment before gravity tore it apart. It rolled, capsized, and disappeared beneath the waves in under 4 minutes. Tamako saw everything: the missiles, the explosions, the sudden silence. Its captain made the only decision left. He shut down weapons, cut engines, and raised a white flag. The remaining harpoons were diverted to impact harmlessly at sea. At 14:43, the battle was over. 18 minutes from first warning shot to final surrender. The Stone, scarred, burned, and battered, was still afloat, still moving, still fighting to survive. Gravely arrived moments later, launching boats, rescuing 89 Venezuelan sailors from the water, and complying with the law of the sea. You rescue everyone, even the ones who tried to kill you. 33 Venezuelan sailors were dead. 61 from Tamako were taken into custody. No Americans were killed. The political fallout inside Venezuela was immediate and brutal. Firings, accusations, frantic attempts to spin the story. But the satellite tracks, radio recordings, and maritime logs were impossible to deny. The Venezuelan vessels had closed in, had fired first, and had paid the price. In the months that followed, U.S. policy changed permanently. No Coast Guard cutter would ever again patrol near Venezuelan waters without a warship nearby, ready to unleash overwhelming firepower at a moment's notice. Today, 2 broken hulls lie on the seafloor, slowly turning into artificial reefs, silent monuments to arrogance, miscalculation, and the lethal speed of modern naval warfare. If you enjoyed this cinematic reconstruction and want more, consider subscribing. This is Warfare Lab, where we tell the story of war exactly as it unfolds.